Welcome to the Lake Show, where you can find out what's going on in and around Fort Lake Loudoun. I'm Angela Howard, the Executive Director of Fort Loudoun Lake Association, where I work with scientists and zone managers on a daily basis. We do three things: REM, we remove trash and debris daily, we educate the community on pollution prevention, and we monitor stormwater management and your stream health. And today I'm so excited to have TVA with me, the Big Tennessee Valley Authority. I've got Suzanne and Jim here. They're going to tell us about TVA, our part with our river here, but also we've got a great event coming up that TVA has sponsored our organization to help us out with. Welcome, you all. Welcome. So glad to have you both here.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
So, Suzanne, we're going to start with you. Can you tell our audience what you do for TVA?
Sure. I'm in the Natural Resources Group, and we're responsible for the 293,000 acres of reservoir public land.
Wow.
We also have 11,000 miles of shoreline and 42,000 miles of tributary streams and rivers. So within that area, we have sensitive biological organisms, rare plants and animals, wetlands and other sensitive species. And we also have important Native American cultural sites that we protect. And we're stewards of the environment and just protect some of our public access areas that people want to go to when they enter the water.
So that was an amazing number you just spouted out there.
Sorry.
293,000 acres.
Yes.
And then 11,000 miles of shoreline?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so tell our audience from where to where that jurisdiction covers, like towns or,
It's across 7 states, but it starts in the headwaters over in the northeast part of Tennessee in North Carolina. And it goes all the way down through Tennessee, through Knoxville and Fort Loudoun, down through Chattanooga, and it dips down into northern Alabama, and then comes back up on the other edge of the state in western Tennessee through Kentucky Lake before it enters the Ohio River, and then it goes down, enters the Ohio into the Mississippi.
Where does it actually stop, your jurisdiction? Because I know that Paducah's up there. I'm just curious, 'cause that's a long way, and why it doesn't go all the way down into the ocean.
It's a long way, and Kentucky Dam is our last dam in that area before the river enters into Lake Barkley through a canal.
So I want to get to Jim, though, because we're going to talk about the event. Suzanne and I have a lot to talk about, but you had so much. We had some back before the show started. We were talking. Tell me a little bit about, the question. I'm going to ask you the hard question. I'm starting off with the hard one, and I get asked this all the time. Who owns the Tennessee River?
There are 9 million owners, and that basically means everyone in the Tennessee Valley. The Tennessee Valley Authority really started in 1933 as a mechanism to ensure the economic prosperity and health of the entire Tennessee Valley. So that is the reason why, as Suzanne said, TVA manages such a large amount of public land, public waterways, all the way from the headwaters in North Carolina all the way to where we enter the Ohio River in Kentucky. All along that is really something that TVA manages for the benefit of everyone in the Tennessee Valley.
So, and define this, because you did this for me. You call yourself managers and stewards. We own it, right? So
That's
the
correct.
Community owns that river, but you steward it so that what? Give me the end of that sentence.
Well, essentially TVA is about 3 things, 3 E's we call them. We're about electricity production, which is what most people think of when they think of TVA. But we're also about environmental stewardship. That includes all of the aspects of river management and ensuring that this incredible amount of natural resources that we have in the Tennessee Valley are maintained not only for us, but for future generations.
Yeah, it's important.
Then both of those elements lead into the third E, which is economic development. That's really what TVA is about driving the economy of the Tennessee Valley and making all of us successful, really making us all a place to really enjoy, to work, to live, and to play right here at home.
And that's true all up and down that Tennessee River.
That is correct.
You're just in the Tennessee, well, in other words, your focus is just in the Tennessee Valley, where your decisions would affect this area? Or are you talking about the whole 11,000 miles of shoreline?
The whole 11,000 miles of shoreline.
Okay, define for us again the economic development, because that's, like I said in the back room, I was like, people think, well, sure, because, you get money, but how is it that your efforts help promote the economics in our area, which is very important to all of us?
Absolutely. Well, there are several ways that TVA manages that. The first, and again, the way most people think of it, TVA is really committed to ensuring that we produce low-cost electricity, because that really is the engine that drives the economic development of the valley. We also look at the river as an economic development opportunity. It's navigable all the way from the Ohio River to Fort Loudoun.
So it
So
makes
you can bring,
commerce,
that's
right?
correct. You can have the barge traffic go through there. There's also the flood control aspect of river management, because most people don't think about the fact that TVA actually prevents huge amounts of floods. Just last year, TVA prevented nearly $800 million in flood damage
I can imagine that.
because of those very large rain events, if you recall, we had in January and July of 2013. So those are the kinds of things that TVA focuses on every day. Again, what that does is it makes the Tennessee Valley very attractive for businesses to locate here, because the climate is good, and the fact that their employees want to live here. Because there is an amazing amount of natural resources that people can play with. Fort Loudoun, of course, being one of the crown jewels of that.
Well, I agree with you on that. And part of that, raising and lowering, because some of us don't understand why it's up and down, it's up and down. And then we think of erosion. And when you're talking about saving 800,000, did you say?
800 million.
That's huge. $800 million worth of damage, even though, God, the rain last year was horrible. It was really bad on all of us. I know the plants maybe liked it, but even then the erosion was bad for them. Erosion, it must be a really big problem, I would think. And you guys got to work hard to keep our shoreline from eroding, yes?
That's correct. A lot of things that we do, in terms of the river management policy, is to, one, keep those navigable streams navigable all year round. But we also manage the river and change the level of not only the main channel of the river, which of course Fort Loudoun is a part of, but our upstream reservoirs as well. We lower those levels in the winter so that we have the room to handle the extreme runoff from all of the rains that we get in the winter. Most people think of rains in the spring as being the worst rains, but from river management, believe it or not, winter rains are the worst. Because in the winter, all of that water runs directly into streams and into the river. In the spring and summer, when all the plants are green, a lot of that water is taken up by the plants, and we actually get very little water from rain into the rivers in the spring and the summer. It's mostly in the fall and winter. That's the reason we draw them down, so we have the room to fill them back up to store all of that water for summer. The added benefit of that is you get the cleanest and lowest cost of electricity right from that river.
And I know that's one of the things that you all focus on was your environmental initiative, the Green TVA. Now, I want to move to Suzanne about the environmental aspect of TVA, because what you've told us is an amazing amount of information that I don't think most of us know about, which I thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Now, though, on the environmental side, because that's your real focus, what is the mission, let's say, of your department? And I may be saying this wrong, but what is the mission of your department? What is your hope for the next 1 year, 5 years, 10 years?
Well, we're really working hard this year on doing land improvement and water quality improvement projects. We've had several projects where we're improving sites, places where people like to camp, for instance. We're really going through and improving these, cleaning these up.
Are these TVA-owned lands?
TVA-owned lands where people can camp. TVA public lands, the good thing about that is that you can fish on them, some places that you can hunt on them, you can camp on them, and you can go enjoy them. They're your land. So, they're well loved and they're popular, so we want to make sure that we're good stewards. We're going back out there and we're keeping these conditions safe and well maintained so that the public can go out and enjoy them, bring their family, and have a good time on the water. And so we're focusing this year on doing stewardship projects, improving sites, and then also public access areas and our day use areas, some of our recreation facilities, and then some of our water quality initiative projects, working with aquatic ecology and shoreline stabilization, as you mentioned, and doing aquatic monitoring. There's just so many things that we do that that falls under the umbrella of natural resources management.
Well, and I've had other people on our show that have talked about the aquatics. I actually had one of our scientists on, and he was great. The more bugs you find, actually the better, or the type of bugs you find means the quality of the water is good or bad. And we've got some pretty good water here, and people need to know that because I'd like to see them out on the river, just like you all would. Which brings me to your environmental initiative. You have sponsored our organization to do a big old cleanup at the Cove at Concord. And I know that they want us to get as many people as possible. So go on our website, go on our Facebook, and we have an event on Facebook. And it's on all the outdoor calendars. But it's a wonderful thing. I want to thank you for doing that. But tell the audience a little bit about why. Why did you picked us and you picked an activity. So tell me about that.
Well, we're really excited about the event. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to getting out there and getting the community out there. And, you know, it's really a way to get the community engaged, to bring the awareness to the community. You know, this is your river. This is an important place. You know, it gives everybody a sense of pride. And so this is an opportunity for people to get out there and engage and just be a part of the community.
Let me tell them when it is. July 18th. It's Friday, July 18th, 6 to 8. And we're providing food and beverages. And we're at the Cove. And if you wanted an adult beverage, they actually sell it there. But the great thing is it's about shoreline cleanup. And it's before a big event. And the interesting thing is you're going to have some TVA employees out there, aren't you?
Yes.
And so tell me who's going to come from TVA, because it's a great way for y'all to meet some of the kind of bigwigs in the environmental department.
Well, we're recruiting staff that we have Team TVA, and they help throughout the year on a variety of events. So we're going to put out the call to various employees, so whoever shows up, we'll know that day.
But aren't you going to have somebody speak to us as from TVA?
Yeah, we're hoping to get some of our managers out there to speak.
That'd be
to us.
interesting for the community to intermingle with TVA
Yes.
and really talk about taking care of our river and taking that initiative.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and throughout this past year, we've worked across the state on similar efforts with other watershed associations
Right.
doing cleanup events, and then we sponsored the Alternative Spring Break in Memphis with Living Lands and Waters.
Wow.
And so we've just had, you know, a busy year of getting people out, getting people engaged, and supporting in a way we can with our partners. So.
Just like we were talking earlier, everybody thinks that their lake and their river's just right there in front, but boy, it really does. Somebody always lives downstream. There's always somebody downstream, and you guys are doing a great job. It must be huge. When I think again of 11,000 miles of shoreline, and we're talking about 3, maybe 1 that we're cleaning up for this event. But I do want to encourage everybody to go to our website and to our Facebook to sign up for the volunteer event. It's a cleanup 6 to 8, July 18th. You get to meet. Are you going to come to this?
I certainly will.
Oh, okay. We'll put a little grabber in your hand. You can go up to all that.
I can do that.
Well, anyway, I want to thank both of y'all so much for being here. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the audience about TVA or water quality?
Get out there and have fun. Enjoy your TVA public lands and waters.
There you go.
And the fact that, as you pointed out so well, we live here, we work here, we play here. This land belongs to all of us. So we thank you very much for taking such an active part in helping to maintain Fort Loudoun. As I said earlier, it definitely is one of the crown jewels of the TVA system. And thanks to folks like you and your group, it really makes a difference.
Well, thank you all for being here. And I do want to remind our audience that we do 3 things. REM, remove trash and debris daily, educate our community on pollution prevention, and monitor our water quality. Thank you all so much.